I think over the last decade or so, I know over the last decade or so, there's been a ton of programming platforms that have been established for the region, for the businesses around the same things that you're saying about 75 Startup Studios. Where did you guys see that the need was actually there to start something like this when there's been so many other platforms in the area that have done something very similar or the same? Or when someone asks that questions, how do you actually answer that without saying it's not for everyone or type of thing?
We don't view ourselves competing against any sort of one or entity or organization. That through a lot of the research that we did and the Techstars report that came out last year or earlier this year, that we felt like there was a need to kind of streamline and create a vertically integrated ecosystem to take advantage of the access to capital that 757 Angels has and the investors that they have in their group. 757 Accelerate, which is targeting a little bit more further along concepts that are ready to go to market and start attracting consumers and customers and start raising some seed funding. And then the studios kind of came in to be the physical spot that houses the Angels and Accelerate. We also have ecosystem resources like the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge, Techstars, and Oz Minkins, the ecosystem director, is there regularly. And then we have the Hampton Roads Biomedical Research Consortium also have space in the studio. So tapping into those ecosystem resources while also having a program of ourselves targeting early stage, high growth startups that have the potential to grow very fast, offering them rent-free tenancy. So taking a barrier to entry kind of off of the table. That rent is a very significant expense for a lot of these folks there. So making it so that they have 6 months rent-free tenancy with the opportunity, if they hit certain milestones or key performance indicators during that first 6 months, they can qualify for an extra 6 months for a maximum of a 1-year tenancy in the space, while also having subject matter experts, regular office hours, community events, and things like that. So really the secret sauce, if you will, is that you're in a room and in a space with people that are going through the same growing pains and stages of their company like you are. So you can turn around and ask questions, whether it be, hey, we're working on a marketing plan. Do you have any advice or things that we should steer clear of there? So I think that we are trying to position ourselves to be kind of the front door of the ecosystem and startup world in the region there. And you're not going to find an organization or entity that has all of those resources housed in a centralized location and a beautiful office campus in downtown Norfolk to make it easier for these startups to be able to have the access to resources and things that we're able to provide them with.
Yeah, so it's July 1st as we're airing this. When did you guys open the doors for Startup Studios? It's really recent.
May 21st was our move-in day, so we are getting ready to kick off week 6, which is hard to believe. We moved into an entirely new space, new program, but even in that 6 weeks time frame, almost all 12 of our companies have had significant milestones that they've already achieved, whether that be acquiring their first paying customers, to filling out their co-founding team, to unrolling a beta test, whatever the case may be. So that certainly gives us reason for optimism that folks are already seeing value and that the concept is working. That we recently did a poll of all of our founders, and 95% of those folks would recommend Startup Studios to another founder. So early on, while we're still kind of building up and rounding off our programming there, that people are seeing the value in that, which is certainly cause for optimism and gives us a lot of encouraging signs for what the future holds. Also, I think it's important to note that our 757 Accelerate program had a record number of applicants this year as well. So a lot of trend lines that we're tracking that hopefully we're kind of on the other end of COVID, and now folks are really looking to get out and grow their companies as fast as possible. And the 757 Collab platform certainly provides them with a unique model to be able to scale and grow their companies fast.
So you mentioned the TechStars thing, what do they call that? The report, yes. And so it's interesting. I think a lot of people wouldn't be shocked at that, at some of the stuff in there. But I think a lot of stuff has gone on over the last decade or so. The three of us have done things to try to enhance and better that report. But I mean, when Oz was telling me about some of the things in the report, I'm not necessarily shocked and things like that. Well, knowing what the report said, knowing what the local businesses are potentially looking for, or maybe they don't know what they're looking for and they think they know what they're looking for. What are you guys doing to try to actually fix that? So that I think what's the word? This area has a lot of potential, right? And so how is what you guys doing going to help actually fulfill that potential? To see that TechStars report go better, to see a Kaufman startup ranking get back to where we were before. What is it going to take, or what are you guys doing to see that kind of get to that next level?
It's a drumbeat, and it requires consistent sort of pursuit of excellence and working to achieve that. That we were fortunate enough, I guess it's been almost 2 weeks or so ago, to get one of the largest Go Virginia grants that they've awarded to date. That's going to really position us to be able to scale and hire extra staff to build out the 757 Collab, which will encompass Angels, Accelerate, and Studios there. So with that, we're going to be able to hire a lot of key positions that we've worked really hard to be able to find a way to get them involved. So in terms of creating densities in our ecosystem and reaching new markets and population bases that we haven't been able to reach thus far, that's something that we're really excited about. It's going to be able to give us a little bit of runway to start to continue on the early successes that we've had, whether it be Accelerate and REO and SVT Robotics, and a lot of the alumni that have come out of that 757 Angels is one of the most active angel groups in the country, raising almost $77 million for exclusively Virginia headquartered companies there. So we're very excited about that. I think that indirectly is going to address a lot of the shortcomings of that report. And I know that the report, a lot of people agreed with it, and a lot of people raised a lot of eyes and sort of questioned that there. And I think that it goes back to kind of storytelling and doing everything that you can to tell the external community outside of the folks that watch your show and are involved and kind of head on the ground in the startup and entrepreneurial ecosystem.
Think about just the storytelling. Think about just the storytelling aspect of that, right? I mean, there's a company, homes.com, that was just acquired for 9 figures, 152 million within the last 6 months. Smithfield and Ameriprise, something like that, were acquired for billions of dollars, within the last decade. And those are like not talked about stories. If I'm a business owner in this area, or I'm thinking about starting a business, that would be the story that I would want to hear. Hey, by the way, in the next 10, 15 years, you can sell your business for a lot of money. And so if I were you or someone that's in a marketing position to this area, to these entrepreneurs or potentially entrepreneurs, it would be, hey, there is opportunity here. We need to start promoting a lot more of that stuff instead of, I don't know, some of the other stuff that were the non-stories out there. I mean, those are big stories that we don't talk about, and it's like, hey, like let's chat about this.
Totally agree. It's an Achilles heel, I think, of our region for a long time, and it goes well beyond kind of in the context of what we're talking about there. That we do have an awful lot of really great stories, and I think that everybody's looking for those large exits and things like that to validate the model to the highest degree, if you will. And we have had those stories. They haven't gone through kind of our programming, if you will. So it's hard to claim ownership of that, but still.
But that's okay. It's still an area. I mean, the area is an ecosystem. Not everything's going to go through every single thing, right? I mean, it's like
Wholeheartedly agree.
I mean, 7 Cups of Tea is a company that went through, a random Start Norfolk event, and now they're one of the most successful companies out of the Y Combinator of all time. I don't know that that's actually true. I just made up the most successful aspect of it. But they've done well from a perspective. Am I going to take full claim of that? Absolutely, I'm going to, and say, hey, my event did this thing, and they're the reason why. No, but you can grasp and just say, hey, like our area as a whole is a place where this success can happen. I don't think it has to go through someone's platform, program, whatever. Just because you're in this space doesn't mean that that's the sole reason you're going to be successful. I think it has to be a collection of all of those things that will help. And I think embracing and celebrating, I think that's some of the things that Startwheel in general has in their kind of like wisdoms of what they're trying to do. And that celebrate word, I mean, that's what we're really doing. At the end of the day, to me, it doesn't matter if something goes through someone's platform or not. Is this area something that can see that success?
Absolutely. And to kind of rephrase what I was saying earlier, that those certainly, anytime you have an opportunity to celebrate anything, no matter how small or large, that story should get out. And to Tim's credit and your credit, Zach, that you guys do such a good job of promoting anything and everything that directly, indirectly can improve, help somebody that wants to get in the space, that is in the space there. And we still have a long way to go in improving that. But I think that certainly we're moving in the right direction. And you have to set kind of realistic expectations on what you're able to do. But yes, that not many folks can claim a Mara Group when they exited, and Homes.com and all of the sort of spinoffs of Dominion Enterprise and all of those types of things. Certainly those are 757 headquartered, founded, grown organizations there. And certainly that gives credibility that something like that is a reality here. And we hopefully now are continuing to build out the ecosystem so that early stage, middle stage, whatever can work up to that goal when the time comes.
Someone who's been directly involved within the startup community for almost a decade, I want to talk to you about a serious pain point. Spending a ton of time trying to understand the business landscape in the 757. That's time that should be focused on growing the business. At Startwheel, we're here to help you by compiling all of the news you need to know about in one place. Now there's no need to search multiple websites. Just head to startwheel.org and see for yourself. That's startwheel.org.